in the atmosphere every day.
It's time to bring the whole truth out. Have you guys been watching the governments block out the sun?
Nuclear weapons. Over proliferation, trying to block out the sun.
As they spray to disrespect and decimate the sun, to block its rays from touching us, giving us our beautiful color, and to spreading heavy metals to civilization to cause cancers, Alzheimer's, autism, and many other destructive diseases. As your government does not love you, here they are. None of these clouds here are real. You see all the streaks of skid marks they put in the sky. It's because they do not love you or God's creation. Never seen it like this in any other country. I have for years, over decades, have I watched in every single country that I visited, whether or not the government has hired, whether they're drone planes or they're manned planes, to fly around and spray chemicals, heavy metals and aerosols into the air to block out the sun and poison and murder the population. And what I've noticed is that every Western European nation is spraying and murdering its population, giving them Alzheimer's, autism, cancers, and everything else from these heavy metals.
Some call it a ridiculous hoax. Others are true believers. The white lines you see trailing behind airplanes, you probably know them as contrails. But a growing number of people claim we are secretly getting sprayed with chemicals. Is there any proof? CBS 5's Pat McReynolds takes a look.
Air traffic overhead that leaves familiar white lines in the sky that most consider are condensed and frozen airplane exhaust, or contrails. But all of those white lines are chemicals being sprayed either by the government or private industry. Those chemicals are making us sick. Arizona is a hotbed for chemtrail believers. Former Arizona Senator Karen Johnson even joined them in an online documentary entitled, "What Are They Spraying?"
Why is this happening? Why is this being allowed to be sprayed continually all over the United States?
From these heavy metals being lodged in the human body, which comes down with the rain, which attaches the H2O molecule to these heavy metals and brings them down so you can breathe them in, as well as absorb them, whether it's through the food that you're eating from the farms, etc., or it's just through the oxygen air you are breathing into your lungs, which then permeates into your lungs, which your lungs are really like a sponge, and it lodges itself there so it can poison you and kill you.
Chemtrails now getting widespread attention. Well, tonight, KSLA News 12 investigation reporter Jeff Farrell shows us the results of testing we had done about what's in our skies.
It seemed like some mornings it was just crisscrossing the whole sky. It was just like a giant checkerboard.
Bill Nichols snapped several photos of the strange clouds from his home in Stamps, Arkansas. They begin as normal contrails from a jet engine, but do not fade away like a normal contrail. Soon after, he saw particles in the air.
You know, because we'd see it drop to the ground in a haze.
Nichols then noticed the material collecting on the ground.
This is water and stuff that I collected in bowls. I had it set out in my backyard on my dad's pickup truck.
KSLA News 12 had the sample tested at a lab. The results? A high level of barium. 6.8 parts per million. More than 3 times the toxic level set by the EPA.
Now, Jeff's report mentioned high levels of barium linked to those alleged chemtrails. We wanted to find out exactly what effects barium has on the body. Well, we spoke with Mark Ryan, the director of the Poison Control Center. Ryan tells KSLA News 12 that short-term exposure can lead to anything from stomach to chest pains. Long-term exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
Since about 2000, the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy have been spraying the entire United States sky with a toxic brew of chemicals and other biologic agents. How many of you know what chemtrails are? Nobody? The military and some commercial planes are spraying us with what are called chemtrails. I want you to look at and oftentimes before there's a weather front, there are heavy assaults from these planes just before a weather front is changed. and comes in. Military and some commercial jets have been fitted with huge barrels of at least 49 different kinds of documented chemical poisons. Among other documented ingredients in this toxic man-made clouds are pathogenic molds, fungi, weaponized viruses, and made in some places like the secret site at Fort Detrick, Maryland, which is supposed to be a cancer site. But there are a number of scholars and professors tracking this that have big questions about this. Barium and nanoaluminum particles. What do these do to the human body? Barium is an alkaline earth mineral. It was discovered in 1774. At low doses, it can act as a muscle stimulant. At high doses, it detrimentally affects the heart and the nervous system. Barium is toxic to all mammals, and that means not just humans. Aluminum, which is the most abundant metal in the Earth's crust, is known to diminish kidney function and destroy brain cells and cognitive function. Just think about it. Just between the aluminum and the mercury that we're breathing all the time, we've got already a serious issue about brain function and cognitive function. There is also documented evidence that the aluminum in chemtrails is released as nanoparticles, and that when they reach the Earth environment for wildlife, in lakes and streams, it's causing serious problems with wildlife there. Researchers are also finding that nanoparticles interfere with the growth of plants. Nanotechnology is totally unregulated. Just this past month, a new research report came out showing and documenting for the first time that these nanoparticles actually go through the skin. Well, if you breathe them, whether they go through the skin or whether you're inhaling them, it's still a problem, a serious problem.
As well as I've questioned reasons why they would want to block out the sun, and well, I mean, most of us know that they hate our skin color. Unfortunately for me, I am in the Netherlands where it's winter all the time, and yeah, I get lighter. I keep my brown here, but here I get lighter, as you can see. I don't like it much. I love to live in a place with a lot of sun, and that's beautiful, but here, anytime it is sunny, they spray so much in front of the sun. I've never lived in a country in my life that sprays so much in the skies as the Netherlands. And I've recorded it many, many times. They are not afraid of the people, the civilians here, because it is so blatantly clear that they're spraying like I've never seen before in any other country, that they'll literally spray X's all throughout the sky, that all you'll see is X marks, which just reminds me of death, like a target, like crosshairs upon you. Everywhere you go, every time you look outside, you just have X marks in front of the sun, X marks. And I've never seen that, because you know that is a man-made thing when you have just straight lines, especially an X. And one day I did an experiment. I went outside and there was just a huge X right above me in the sky, and I stood there near a main road and bicycle path, and I looked up at it and I was just like, what the fuck? And I did that, and people walked by. They didn't even look. They didn't ask questions. They did not care, except for one lady who looked up and saw it, and she was like, oh, you made me look up. But she didn't even was aware of nothing. She couldn't comprehend that there are real clouds, which are all circular and curvy and all this stuff, and then there were just huge X's like this in the sky, and nothing registered in her brain. So obviously the fluoride in this country is working. The spraying is working because no one questions anything. They think the government loves them, and they think that X's in the sky only in front of the sun is real clouds and nowhere else, just in front of the sun. But it's so bad here that I witnessed them spraying in front of the moon. Now remember, they lied to us and tell us that the moon doesn't put out its own light, that it's a dead rock and reflects from the sun's light to here on Earth, which we know then that the moon would put out warm light and not cold light, because it's reflecting from the sun, which is a heat source, and it hits over here. But if anyone has a brain and has ever done any type of scientific experiment, which most people have not, they simply just hear something from their government, their God, their master, and they just believe it. Unlike me, who did the test myself, and you can find out that the moon's light is cold light, and that it is its own light source.
So this is a thermometer, and it's reading 59 degrees. This is the moonlight. We'll get out of the way of the moonlight. 62 degrees, and this is in the moonlight. 60, wow, 60 degrees.
I gotta keep it right here to see it.
59 degrees. Now we're gonna move over to the other side of the car where the moon is not on. We're just moving. And we're gonna try this again here. And it's now reading 65 degrees.
Okay, now just move the laser up.
And I'm moving the laser to where the moonlight is shining, and it rapidly drops.
And you find out that when it's sunny, you go into the shade to stay cool, right? Well, in the moonlight, what you have is the moonlight is colder than the shade. So you would go in the shade to be warmer at night instead of in the moon's light, because the moon puts out its own special light.
Okay, class, today we will be looking at the proudest moment in American history, the Apollo 11 moon landing. Here we can see Neil Armstrong taking that historic first step and becoming the first man to walk on the moon. Yes, Timmy?
Who shot that?
What?
Who shot that footage?
What do you mean?
Well, if Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, then who's holding the camera?
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for man.
Well,
Who's out there with the camera?
No, I know what you're asking. I'm just...
Very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder.
Hey, Mr. Teacherson, what can I do for you?
Who shot the moon landing?
Neil Armstrong.
No, he was in it. I mean, who's holding the camera?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
Hang on a second.
Whoa.
Hey, Mr. Mayor. Who shot the moon landing?
Buzz Aldrin.
No, he was in the ship.
I don't know. Alien? Wait, hold on one second.
Thank you for calling the military.
Hi, yes, I have a question.
Don't ask, don't tell.
No. Who shot the moon landing?
Obama residence.
Yes, Mr. President. Who shot the moon landing?
Who's asking that?
Some kid from PS 139.
Hold on.
Yes, so the moon is a massive light source. Whether it's solid or not, we do not know. No one's ever landed on the moon. No one can land on the moon. And as well as the moon is not in outer space, it is actually in our firmament. As far as why they are spraying in front of the sun or trying to block out the rays of the sun, I know they're poisoning us, they're murdering us, they're giving us diseases. I know that much, but when it comes to why they will also want to block out the sun, I mean, how I think of it, they are a death cult. So the sun helps things grow in life, right? Feel good and happy, right? So without the sun, vitamin D, people are sad, depressed. You know, like Washington State is the rain state, the depressed state, the suicide state, because it doesn't get enough sun. So they want us all to feel depressed, sad, have no energy, want to kill ourselves. And as well as they don't want to have us to have skin color. We know this is why that they named skin color pigmentation, because we are the original people created by God, and so we have that solar protection. But they wanted to make it an abomination, so they called it pigmentation, right? As well as generally most people who are religious and dumb, they think that so-called black people are the Hamites, which, by the way, again, ham is for pig, but that's not the real term used. It's really chem, for Chemites. But yeah, we know who runs the world. I just wanted to bring this up to you guys and want you to look in your country, look up to the skies and tell me and show me and leave comments Is your government spraying to block out your sun and poison and murder you and your family and everyone you know in your country to lower the population so you're easy to control? Or is your country a free country where they believe in human life and human rights and healthy families and people, like in Costa Rica? When I lived in Costa Rica for 3 years, never saw one chemtrail ever in any place in Costa Rica ever for the entire 3 years, every day checking and looking. I visited Netherlands while I was there, living in Costa Rica, and came back, and I was still astonished because Netherlands was covered with the X's and Costa Rica had zero, absolutely none chemtrails. So there are still countries out there that aren't out there to murder you and your children and poison you and to block out the sun so you're depressed and hate your life and want to kill yourself. There are still countries out there that care for you as a human being, that respect God and his laws and nature, and they want you to be happy and live in paradise, pura vida, for my Costa Rican ticos and ticas. Anyway, so just let me know in your country, what is it like? I know in Netherlands here, it is the pits of hell up in the sky. So anyways, yeah, there's not much we can do. You know, what can we really do? We just got to make each other aware, and that's really it.
There's no getaway from the poisonous toxin that left the sky gray. There's no getaway. Me wonder if they really want to hear what me say.